Watch a person fall in love, and you witness the most elegant form of self-destruction ever devised. They will tell you it's beautiful, this surrender. They will call it transcendence, this slow dissolution of the self into another's orbit. But Jean-Paul Sartre knew better. He saw love for what it truly is, a magnificent delusion wrapped in poetry, a contradiction so profound it makes mockery of everything we claim to understand about human connection. The woman sitting across from me in the cafe yesterday was explaining to her friend how she finally found the one. Her eyes gleamed with the fervor of a convert describing paradise. She spoke of completeness, of finding her missing piece, of never feeling alone again. And I thought of Sartre, who would have listened to her confession with the cold fascination of a surgeon examining a beautiful tumor. Because what she was describing wasn't love at all. It was the very thing that makes love impossible. We live in a culture that has weaponized romance against itself. Every song, every movie, every whispered promise between lovers carries the same poisonous message, that love is about finding someone who will make you whole, who will stay forever, who will never change or leave or disappoint. But Sartre understood that this vision of love contains within it the seeds of its own destruction. Because it asks for something that cannot exist, it demands something that kills the very thing it claims to cherish. When you tell someone you cannot live without them, you are not making a declaration of love. You are making a confession of existential cowardice. You are admitting that you cannot bear the weight of your own existence, that you need another consciousness to validate your reality. And in that moment, you have already begun the slow murder of whatever authentic connection might have been possible between you. Sartre saw this with terrifying clarity. In his analysis of love, he revealed that what we call romantic devotion is actually a sophisticated form of domination. The lover doesn't want to be loved by a free being. He wants to be loved by someone who has surrendered their freedom. He wants to become what Sartre called the indispensable object of the beloved's subjectivity. In other words, he wants to be needed so desperately that the other person's capacity to choose dissolves entirely. Think about the language we use to describe successful relationships. We talk about capturing someone's heart, about winning their love, about being tied together. These aren't metaphors of freedom and choice. They're metaphors of conquest and imprisonment. We've turned love into a form of beautiful slavery, and we call it commitment. But here's the cruel irony that Sartre exposed. The moment you succeed in chaining someone to your needs, you destroy the very thing that made their love valuable in the first place. If they cannot leave you, then their decision to stay becomes meaningless. If they have no choice but to love you, then their love becomes as empty as a programmed response. You wanted to be chosen, but you've made choice impossible. This is why modern relationships follow such predictable patterns of decay. They begin with the intoxicating rush of mutual fascination, two free beings encountering each other across the void of consciousness. But almost immediately, the fear sets in. What if they change? What if they leave? What if they stop feeling the same way? And so we begin the slow work of building cages we call security. We create rituals of reassurance, demand constant communication, establish territories of emotional ownership. We turn spontaneous gestures into expected behaviors, transform voluntary affection into obligatory performance. We don't do this because we're evil. We do it because we're terrified. Terrified of the fundamental uncertainty that real love demands. Terrified of the freedom that makes love possible. Sartre never married Simone de Beauvoir, despite their profound connections spanning decades. To conventional minds, this looked like fear of commitment, like emotional immaturity. But Sartre understood something that escapes most lovers, that the moment you try to guarantee love, you kill it. Their relationship endured precisely because it remained free, because each day they chose each other anew, without the crushing weight of imposed permanence. Most people cannot tolerate this kind of love. They want the feeling of being freely chosen combined with the security of never being abandoned. They want both the authenticity of spontaneous affection and the reliability of contractual obligation. But these desires are fundamentally incompatible. You cannot have both freedom and guarantee, both surprise and certainty, both aliveness and safety. So we compromise. We choose the illusion of security over the reality of connection. We trade the dangerous beauty of encountering another consciousness for the comforting fiction of permanent possession. And then we wonder why our relationships feel hollow, why passion fades, why we find ourselves going through the motions of love while feeling increasingly distant from the person lying next to us. The tragedy isn't that love fails. The tragedy is that we never give it a chance to succeed. We're so afraid of its natural uncertainty that we smother it with expectations before it can breathe. We're so terrified of being left that we make staying feel like a prison sentence. We're so desperate for proof of our worth that we turn our partners into witnesses for our defense instead of companions for our journey. Sartre's vision of authentic love is almost unbearably demanding. It requires that you face your own emptiness without asking another person to fill it. It demands that you encounter your partner not as a solution to your existential problems, but as a fellow traveler through the absurdity of existence. It asks you to love someone who might not love you back tomorrow, to remain open to someone who could leave at any moment, to cherish someone whose feelings will inevitably change. This kind of love offers no comfort, no security, no guarantee. It doesn't promise to make you whole or complete or safe. Instead, it offers something far more precious and far more terrifying: the possibility of truly encountering another human being, not as an object of your desires, but as a subject with their own mysterious depths and unpredictable choices. When you love someone this way, you don't try to capture their essence or freeze their feelings in time. You don't demand promises about the future or seek constant reassurance about their commitment. Instead, you remain present to who they are right now, in this moment, knowing that tomorrow they might be different and that your love must be flexible enough to embrace that change. This doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means loving actively and courageously, without the desperate need to control outcomes. It means offering your authentic self while respecting their freedom to respond or not respond, to stay or leave, to love or not love. It means accepting that love is not a contract, but a gift, not a possession, but an encounter, not a solution, but a beautiful problem that can never be solved. The reason this kind of love is so rare isn't because it's impossible, but because it demands more courage than most people are willing to summon. It requires that you face the fundamental uncertainty of existence without seeking refuge in another person. It asks you to remain vulnerable in a world that offers no guarantees, to stay open in a universe that provides no ultimate safety. But for those brave enough to attempt it, this kind of love offers something that all our romantic illusions cannot provide: the possibility of genuine connection between two free beings who choose each other, not out of need or fear, but out of authentic appreciation for what the other brings to the mysterious adventure of consciousness. Sartre understood that love cannot rescue us from the human condition. It can only illuminate it. We are alone in our subjectivity, trapped in our own perspective, unable to fully merge with another consciousness, no matter how desperately we try. But within this isolation, there exists the possibility of recognition, of mutual acknowledgement, of two separate beings choosing to journey together through the beautiful absurdity of existence. This is not the love of fairy tales or romantic comedies. It doesn't promise eternal happiness or perfect understanding. Instead, it offers something more valuable, the chance to encounter another human being without the mediating filter of our own desperate needs, to love without possessing, to connect without controlling, to remain free while choosing intimacy. The question that haunts every honest examination of love is this: are we capable of loving in this way? Can we relinquish our need for guarantees, our hunger for possession, our desperate desire to be completed by another? Can we love someone knowing they might leave, knowing they will change, knowing they cannot solve our existential problems? If the answer is yes, then love transforms from a tragic farce into a profound act of existential courage. It becomes not an escape from freedom, but an embrace of it. Not a denial of uncertainty, but a dance with it. Not a solution to the human condition, but a beautiful way of living within it. Watch a person fall in love, and you witness either the most elegant form of self-destruction or the most courageous act of existential affirmation. The difference lies not in the feeling itself, but in how we choose to interpret and act upon it. Love will always remain mysterious, dangerous, and impossible to guarantee. The question is whether we're brave enough to love anyway, without chains, without illusions, without the desperate need for security that turns connection into possession and wonder into obligation. In the end, Sartre offers us no comfort, only clarity. He shows us that authentic love is not a refuge from the absurdity of existence, but a way of embracing it fully, together, without guarantees, without illusions, without the false promise of permanent safety. It is perhaps the most human thing we can do, to reach across the void of consciousness and choose connection anyway, knowing it will end, knowing it will change, knowing it cannot save us from ourselves. This is the violent truth about love. It demands everything and promises nothing. It asks us to remain open while offering no protection, to stay vulnerable while providing no safety, to choose connection while accepting isolation. And yet, for those courageous enough to love this way, it offers the only form of authentic human connection possible in a universe that cares nothing for our comfort and everything for our freedom. The choice, as always, is ours. We can continue to murder love with our need for security, or we can learn to love as Sartre imagined, freely, courageously, without the comforting lies that make connection feel safe, but render it meaningless. The path forward is clear, even if it's terrifying. The question is whether we're brave enough to walk it.